Hi guys, in this video I want to explain the three basic trigonometry problems you might encounter. So the first thing is to talk about what trigonometry is. We typically, when working with a right triangle in high school geometry, will use the Pythagorean theorem if we have two sides and we're trying to find the third side. Additionally, if we have the angles of a triangle and we're trying to solve for one of them, we typically subtract the other two angles from 180 degrees, and that gives us the third angle. But occasionally you'll run into geometry problems where you don't have enough information to use the Pythagorean theorem, and you don't have enough information to just subtract some angles from 180 to find the other one. You actually need to use sides to find an angle, or use an angle and a side to find another side. And that's what we use trigonometry for. It's almost like a translator between angles and sides. So there are three trigonometric ratios: sine, cosine, and tangent. And whenever you're starting a trigonometry problem, you want to make sure that you've clearly identified which side of your triangle is the hypotenuse. So I like to turn the right angle into a little arrow, and it always points at my hypotenuse. Now after that, you have to decide which side is the opposite side and which side is the adjacent side. Those two sides can change depending on which angle you're going to be working with. So if you decide to use this angle, let's say, in your right triangle, then your opposite side will be this side over here, the side that does not create that angle. So this angle would have this side that's opposite from it, and this side down here would be your adjacent side. However, if you decided to use this angle up here, those terms are going to switch. Now, the side that is opposite from this angle is this side down here, and the side that is adjacent to this angle is this side right here. So while the hypotenuse is always across from the right angle, the side that you're going to label opposite and the side that you're going to label adjacent is going to depend on which angle you're going to use. So I have three example problems here that I'm just going to set them up and solve them, but I'm not actually going to get the final answer. To get the final answer, you can just plug this as what the answer looks like. You're just going to type that right into your calculator and it will give you your answer. So in this first problem, I can see that I'm looking to find a side, and I don't have two sides, so I can't do the Pythagorean theorem. Therefore, I'm going to have to use this acute angle and this side to set up an equation. You want to plug everything into your sine, cosine, tangent equations exactly as they're written. So you're going to replace the a here with whatever angle you're going to use, and you're going to replace opposite hypotenuse or adjacent hypotenuse or opposite adjacent with the corresponding sides from your picture. So in this problem, I always start by labeling. So my hypotenuse is going to be right here. Since I'm going to use 42 as my angle in this problem, my opposite side is going to be x. And the side that is between the right angle and the angle that you're using is going to be called your adjacent side. So in this problem, because I'm solving for the opposite side, I have to use one of the equations that has opposite in it. So it's either going to be sine or tangent, and I need to use the ratio that has the side that I know in it. So I need to make sure I use the one with opposite and adjacent, and that's going to be tangent. So I set it up exactly as it says there. I'm going to write, where's the best place? Probably here. So I'm going to write tan. I'm going to put 42, which is the angle, equals. Opposite is in the numerator, and adjacent, which is 15, is in the denominator. Typically, whenever I'm solving these problems with my students in class, I like to do a proportion. So I would put tangent 42 over 1 and then cross multiply. So 1 times x is just going to give me x. I bring down the equal sign, and 15 times tangent 42. The way you want to multiply things with sine, cosine, tangent is you just want to put the thing that you're multiplying with them in the front of the letters. So this would be 15 tan 42. There is a multiplication sign in between the 15 and the tangent, but it's unnecessary for you to write it. You don't even have to type it into the calculator if you're using the calculator that works, that Desmos made, that works with our FSA. So you're just going to type 15 tan 42 into your calculator, and that'll give you the answer. For this one, we're going to set it up the same way. We start the problem by seeing what we're solving for. We're solving for a side. We're going to look to see if we know two other sides, because then it's going to be easy and we can just do the Pythagorean theorem. But because it's a trigonometry video, we're going to find out that we only have an angle and one side, so we're going to have to use trigonometry. Again, use the right angle to show you where your hypotenuse is. The side across from the angle you're going to use, I'm going to use this 34. This side is going to be the opposite side, and then the side in between the right angle and this angle that you're using is going to be your adjacent side. Because I'm going to solve for the hypotenuse using the adjacent side, hypotenuse and adjacent goes with cosine. So I'm going to fill that out exactly as it says there. Cos 34 equals adjacent over hypotenuse will be 4 over x. Now, whenever x is in the denominator, the way that you're going to solve it isn't just going to be one step like up here where all I had to do was multiply. It's actually going to be two steps. So if I do the same thing, I'm going to do my proportion. I put that over 1. And when I cross multiply, the 4 is going to multiply with the 1, which gives me 4. And the x is going to multiply with cosine 34. I usually show the multiplication sign whenever I'm doing this one, just so you guys can see the algebra. That's the second step to solve it. Because the x is not isolated still, I still need to take this cosine 34 and move it to the other side. And because it was multiplied with the x, I'm going to just divide by cosine 34. And those are going to cancel. And now, this is what I'm going to put into my calculator. I'm going to put this whole answer, 4 divided by cosine 34, not the equal sign, into your calculator. And it will give you the answer. The last thing for this one is to solve for an angle. So whenever we're solving for an angle, we're still going to solve everything the same way. We're going to set it up by finding the hypotenuse. The opposite side, it's always opposite across from the angle that you're going to use, and we kind of have to use this x because that's what we're solving for. And the side that's between the right angle and the angle you're using is your adjacent side. So because this one has opposite and adjacent, this is going to be another tangent problem. So as I work this one out, I'm going to solve it the same way. I'm going to start by setting up the entire equation. So I'm going to write tan. The A is the degrees, which is x in this case. And then I'm going to set it up with opposite over adjacent. So the opposite is 5, and the adjacent side was 7. Now this one's a little bit different because you don't need to do a proportion in order to get x by itself, because x is almost isolated. The only thing that's over here with x is tangent. It's just that we can't just move the tangent by itself to the other side. We have to actually do the opposite operation of tangent, which is actually tangent to the -1 power, which is also sometimes called arctangent or arcsine and arccosine when they have a little -1. You'll see that button on your calculator, and that tangent -1 is actually going to cancel out the tangent. And then on the other side, I have to make sure that I take tangent -1 on that side as well. So I put the tangent -1 on both sides. This one cancels. This one's not going to cancel. So I'm just going to end up with my x equals, it's going to have tangent -1 with 5 over 7. And you're actually just going to put that in your calculator. So this part right here goes into your calculator and it'll give you the answer. So I hope that that was somewhat helpful for you. Let me know if you have any questions, if I can explain it any more clearly, and I hope you have a great day.